And they've done it. Crystal Palace have won their first ever major trophy. They have won the FA Cup, beating Manchester City 1-0 on the day, thanks to Eberechi Eze goal. Crystal Palace fans, how are you feeling? You must be feeling absolutely over the moon. Because yeah, Manchester City were obviously favourites going into it, but did anyone else feel like, yeah, Crystal Palace could do this? They've got a great set of players. They've got Oliver Glasner at the helm. They could actually do this. And we all knew it was going to be a tough game for Crystal Palace. But they could do it if everyone played to the best of their ability. Man City didn't play to the best of their ability. They had key players with individual match-winning performances, which they did, in like Dean Henderson, Eberechi Eze, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Daniel Munoz. I thought some of them were absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you could arguably name the entire team. But also the fact that I think they got a bit of luck, which I think you need, and Crystal Palace absolutely got the luck, but they also made their own luck, so they deserved it in my opinion. Everything that you possibly wanted to go their way in this game, Crystal Palace, it did. And as the game went on and on and on and on, I just thought to myself, yeah, they can do this. From minute 1 to minute 5 to 10 to like every few minutes, I was like, yeah, they could do it. And they did. And I'm just so happy that, yeah, they're the underdog in this game. But I'm so happy that, Newcastle won the League Cup this year. Palace won the FA Cup. I'm so glad that other teams are winning it because, yeah, it has been boring and I'm glad for them. Because the way Man City set up, I thought was a little bit interesting because you knew exactly how Palace were going to set up. They were going to set up in a 3-4-3. They're going to have three centre backs, wing backs of Munoz and Mitchell, the two midfield, Kamada and Wharton. I thought they were both phenomenal. And the front three, of course, the very dangerous front three of Eze, Mateta and Sarr. And you can see it here perfectly. This was about 3 minutes into the game. Jeremy Doku hugging that left touchline, and Savino was hugging the other touchline, sorry. And then you could see there, Haaland and Marmoush in the middle against the three centre-backs of Crystal Palace. And I thought actually that was a mistake from Guardiola. If you've got three centre-backs, just play the one striker and ask the questions of the centre-back. What are you going to do? Are you going to come out, overload their midfield, and make them give them a decision to make and think to themselves, are we going to drop into that midfield? Are we going to stay where we are? And I think that's where Man City maybe missed a trick. You can see there, Nico O'Reilly tucking in from left-back into midfield to try and ask questions of Sarr and Wharton on the side. What are you going to do? Who are you going to pick up? You're going to stick into your shape, mark the space, you're going to come pick me up the man as well. And Crystal Palace were absolutely happy for Nico O'Reilly to have the ball there. Doku, anytime he got the ball, Munoz was just on him every time. Savino, same on the other side with Mitchell. And I just thought that, what was the game plan by Man City here? Crystal Palace, the entire game, only 22% possession. Wasn't an issue whatsoever. Glasman, like, it's fine. They can have the ball because they're not going to do it. And I had to ask Pep Guardiola, what was his intention with the ball here? Was it just to put the ball into the box, cross it, and hope for Haaland and Mamouche to get on the end of it? Because if that was it, I mean, surely you think more often than not that Crystal Palace were going to get there. I just thought it was really, really confusing. And the first 15 minutes, yes, it went Man City's way. Yes, they had more of the ball. Yes, they were creating some of the early chances. Dean Henderson had to make a very early good save from a flying scorpion kick by Haaland. But I thought to myself, Crystal Palace, it's fine. First 10 to 15 minutes, you knew Man City were going to have the ball. It was going to be an occasion where Crystal Palace were going to have to grow into it. And grow into it, they absolutely did. Because actually, when you think about the goal, and it was such a simple goal, actually, when you think about it, it wasn't anything like absolutely breathtaking. It was just really good play by a team who have been coached and know exactly how they're going to play. And the players who were executing it on the pitch were really, really good on the day in the cup final, but also got the better of the men. And I think Crystal Palace just wanted it more. And we'll break down the goal now because from here, Henderson's going to pass the ball to Gay on the left-hand side. And actually, funnily enough, just before this happened, there was a little bit of a pause in play, and you can see the camera panned to Glasner. He is shouting at his team. He's trying to tell them to do something, and I think this is what it was, because normally Henderson from here, this goal kick, he's going to go right, and he's going to give it to Lacroix. This time he doesn't. He goes left to Gay first, to give Jeremy Doku what are you going to do? Are you going to press Lacroix? Are you going to press Richards? Are you going to go back to Munoz, one of the midfielders? What are you going to do? But here, Henderson passes to Gay. Gay passes it back then to Lacroix. And that gives Doku a very difficult predicament, which allows Richards to play the ball. And as you can see, Gay, he gets the ball. He's looking, okay, you got Savino on me. I'm going to have to pass the ball back. So he's going to do that. And look at Doku. He's ready to pounce on Lacroix. But he doesn't. And he could go on to press Lacroix here, but he's got Richards just there, and he knows if you press Lacroix and Lacroix releases the ball early, then Richards is going to have time and space on the ball, and he could then drive forward, and the Man City are going to be in a little bit of difficulty. So he decides not to. But look at his body position there. He's so ready to run at Lacroix. But then actually, he should be running straight at Richards when he gets the ball and trying to show him line. But look at his body positioning in this next still. He has actually somehow ran from the edge of the box, and with his body positioning, it looks like he's coming straight at Richards, but he's actually showing him, like, actually go with your weaker foot, left foot, yeah, fair enough, but onto the inside. I'm not sure that's actually the right play here. I think he should be attacking Richards' left-hand side and showing him the line. Yes, Munoz is there. Yes, Munoz has a big part to play in this goal, as we're about to show, and Munoz is fantastic going forward, as we've seen so far in the league. But he really, in my opinion, should be showing him line rather than inside, because that's when it starts to get a little bit difficult. Because up till that point, Man City's defenders have been really good against Jean-Philippe Mateta. They hadn't quite won the ball off him just yet. But here, this is when he gets his foot on the ball. He's able to get his body in between the ball and the defender. And then, Crystal Palace find themselves 3v5 here. But they don't need that many men because they have runners and they run for days. And I thought it was really quite funny here because I thought to myself that Kamada should have played the ball straight to Munoz. But actually, Munoz isn't quite there just yet. He's faster than I think he is, and despite the fact that he's so fast. But Kamada does the right thing of giving the ball back to Mateta. But you can see that Gavardio, he's like, oh, God. Mateta's just bullied me out the way. I need to get back. But Mateta's not running back. He's holding his space. He knows no one can really get the ball off him in the 50-50 in the physical duel. So he knows the ball's coming straight back to him. And look at where Nico Riley is, look at where Munoz is, and then look at where they are in this next still. Because Mateta has the ball, and actually Nico Riley hasn't looked once at Munoz to see where it is. He's kept on ball watching the entire time. And I'm not going to have a go at a young player. It's clearly the lack of experience. He's still growing. He looks like a phenomenal talent. But really, where's the danger? Is Mateta going to run through the Man City back line, fire a shot from 30 yards? He could do. But really, the space and the threat is Daniel Munoz on the right-hand side. And from being behind Nico O'Reilly to now being in front of him, that's a mistake that O'Reilly makes. He doesn't once look over the back of his shoulder to see where his man is. And his man is Munoz. And he's the one who ends up leading the goal. But before I go to the next though, just look at where Eze is. Eze, I think very intelligently, a lot of people might be like, do you know what? It's a cup final. This is my chance to grab a goal. I need to run into the box to try and make myself an option. But he hangs back. He stays away from Akanji, and that's what actually creates that separation for the goal. Because as the ball comes in from Munoz on the first time, he catches everyone off guard, because normally you think to yourself, okay, take a touch, look up to see what the ball is. But with the FA Cup final, because it's such a big occasion, Munoz just goes, no, I'm going to put it in the box. It's the first time the entire half at this point that Crystal Palace have found themselves in Man City's half. And like I said, Eze and Akanji at the back post, because he didn't run straight and sprint towards the box, because he knows that separation is actually going to help him and create that space for him, that Akanji is really on his toes a bit. He's not really expecting anyone, and that leads to Eze being able to get there ahead of Akanji, because Akanji doesn't think that Eze is going to get there. He thinks the ball's going straight to Mateta, but it's not for Mateta. It's for Eze. It's for the man in form, and of course, he slots it into the back end of the net to make it 1-0. And that was the score on the day, but there was still a hell of a lot more to go in this game. And we'll start off with the handball. Is he lucky? I think he is incredibly lucky, Dean Henderson. If the referee gave that as a red card, I would have no issues with that whatsoever. The fact that he didn't get anything for it, I think, is absolutely wild. But Crystal Palace fans, what do you think? Obviously, Haaland is going away from the penalty area, so he's going away from the goal, which means that it's going to be harder for him to finish with a weaker right foot. And the Crystal Palace defenders are probably going to get there. But also, if Henderson doesn't handball it there, does Haaland have a clear run of goal? For me, it's a yellow. However, I'm not certain on it. And if you wanted to give me a strong argument for why you think it's a red, I don't think you need to be that strong. I think I could be quite easily persuaded. So I think Dean Henderson is incredibly lucky. Because I think if VAR is looking for, it's on his Rico right foot if he gets there, the Crystal Palace defender, is he fast enough? Could he maybe get there? I think that's looking for too much, personally. And I think the referee should have been sent to the monitor just to have a look for himself. But I know that's not how VAR does it. But the issue I find is the fact that you don't even pull it back and give Henderson a yellow or give the free kick to Man City. I think that for me is absolutely wild. But yeah, I obviously Crystal Palace fans, you won the game, you don't care. But on reflection, oh my god! But I tell you what, I did think at this moment. After this, I was like, is this going to be Crystal Palace's day? Is this going to be their day? And that was my thought for a brief moment until the penalty. And this is another dicey decision because I think Mitchell gets the ball, well, a toe on the ball, and he does get the man. I really don't know, to be completely honest. First instinct was a penalty in real time. Watching the replay, I'm not sure. I think it is a penalty. I think you could argue if you wanted, he gets a touch on the ball, but again, there's so many like minute details in it, like trying to figure out like exacts, which I'm really not sure. I don't think that's enough for VAR to overturn it if you're talking about clear and obvious. And if the referee gives it on the pitch, I appreciate the referee taking a minute, well, not a minute, but a couple of seconds to think because of the fact that he wasn't there. It was an FA Cup final. It's a big moment. But first instance, I thought it was a penalty. Crystal Palace fans let me know. But yeah, in the end, it didn't really matter. And again, more talking points, but mainly about City here is that Haaland doesn't take it. Omar Mamouche takes it. And I was listening to the commentary, 4 goals out of his last 7 penalties. So he's missed 3 Erling Haaland, just coming back from an injury. I think it's either Haaland has said he doesn't want to take the penalty. Mamouche has said he really wants to take the penalty. Or Guardiola has said Mamouche is taking the penalty instead of Erling Haaland. If Haaland has said it, I've got a massive problem, right? If Mamouche said he still wants to take it and Haaland's given it to him, FA Cup final, maybe let it go, right? Or if Guardiola said, I want Mamouche to take it, that's fine. But if it's the first one, if it is that Haaland decided not to take this penalty for his name, who he is, the striker is, I don't think it's this. But it does get to show you that by his own standards, he hasn't had a great season. And I know that's crazy considering he scored 30 goals this season, all competitions. But the fact that he's not taking a penalty in the final, I just thought it was really interesting. But also the penalty by Mamouche. It's not right in the bottom corner, but also I think at this point, I just really want to give credit to Dean Henderson. I remember when Crystal Palace first signed him, I thought to myself, it's a lot of money. And could that money be spent better elsewhere in that squad under Roy Hodgson? That's what I thought at the time. After today, not a chance. After that, Dean Henderson was worth every single penny. Or 6 save in this game, 1 penalty save as well. He was absolutely phenomenal. So he was worth absolutely every penny. And yes, there was a whole second half. And I thought to myself, Man City cannot be as bad in that second half as they were in the first. They're marginally better. However, I don't think they were incredible. I don't think they were. I mean, yeah, sure, I've got the stats there. And yeah, they created a certain amount of shots or they created a certain amount of XG from the game. But like I said, Dean Henderson made 6 saves, 1 penalty save. But in that second half, they had a lot more of the ball, more than they did in the first half, which is not saying much. But they were creating chances. But I thought in a way that Crystal Palace, if it wasn't a cup final, I don't think I would have been as nervous for them. But because it was, it added to the atmosphere. Obviously, the fans were brilliant on the day. But I thought to myself, they look okay. They did look okay, I thought, which is mental to say, but they were the better side and they absolutely deserved it. There was a moment though in the second half, obviously when the offside goal got ruled out, the one where from Munoz and then hit Sarr, and then at the same time during that spell, Margay got taken off. And I thought to myself, looking back to that game at the Etihad earlier on a couple of weeks ago in the season, that I thought to myself, oh, it's reminiscent of when they went 2-0 up. Third one got choked off. Then Marque wasn't even on the pitch at the day. Then the Crystal Palace on the day in the Etihad made a substitution. And Oliver Glasson did go maybe a bit too defensive. And I thought to myself, oh God, is this going to maybe play mind games on the Palace players? It didn't. It didn't matter at all. And Palace were absolutely brilliant. And then they won. I know they've won the championship and stuff. And I think that should be celebrated. I don't think it's fair to say first ever major honour. But yeah, it's a massive day. Gotta have a trophy parade, gotta celebrate. Team are going to be in Europe now next year. Oliver Glasner, what a manager, won the Europa League with Frankfurt, and when he joined I thought, wow, what a great manager, what a great coup. So I think he was going to do this. Absolutely not. No way is I think Oliver Glasgow is going to win a cup trophy with Crystal Palace. But fair play. Europe is calling, European tour. It's going to be the Europa League as well, not just the Conference League. So, Crystal Palace fans, how do you feel? I cannot imagine how you must be feeling, having probably never felt this as much joy. Yeah. Wow, I'm lost for words. But you guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought of the game. Let me know how you're feeling right now and just soak it all in.